In April 2023, the engine on a tractor started to overheat when using the snowblower. As you can see, the temperature was not as high on the temperature gauge, but it had come down quite much before filming this clip. It was way over in the red field. I replaced the thermostat, hoping that was the culprit, but it didn't fix it. As a last resort, I will try to clean out the cooling system. What I am about to do is perhaps not the correct way, but at least I get it done. So join me. I need to raise the loader to access a screw that's holding the hood. What I'm doing here basically is to remove the thermostat, and in order to do that I need to remove the hood and the air filter housing just to gain access. You can do this without removing the filter housing, but it's much easier removing it. Before removing the thermostat, I need to drain the coolant, and this is a slow way doing it, I know. By removing the radiator cap, the coolant drains much faster. Here I'm removing the bolts for the air filter housing. There's 2 bolts on top and 2 bolts in the front beside the water pump. They can be a bit tricky to gain access to. I have not included footage of removing the bolts in the front. Is it necessary to remove the air filter housing? Not really, but it's much easier to gain access, as you can see. Using the socket here doesn't help, so you need to use a wrench or something like that. In March this year I replaced this thermostat, hoping it would solve the problem, but it didn't. Ooh, rusty water. Not looking good. The main reason to remove the thermostat is to let the water circulate through the system without being dependent on the water being hot and the thermostat opening. So now I have to put everything back together. The bolts holding this air filter housing has fine threads, and here in the front it takes a long time to get them in. I removed this hose just to gain more access to the bolts holding the air filter housing in the front. I'm using regular tap water, just because the water won't be in there forever, so just for some days. I'm mixing in 2 liters of Systemrens or system cleaner. This is an engine cleaner. I'm using 2 liters, probably not enough, but that's what I could afford at the moment. They are quite expensive. 259 Norwegian kroners for 1 liter. Recommended mixing ratio is 10 to 20%. It's biodegradable, it's safe for aluminium tanks, and it doesn't destroy gaskets. Even though I replaced the thermostat in March this year, I'm not quite sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I will heat it up until it reaches 88 centigrade. In many cases, even though the part is new, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's okay. So I would like to test this. And as you can see, I'm struggling. Now we have reached 88 centigrade and it still hasn't opened. And now at 92 centigrades it starts to open. Here you can see it's opened. One thing's for sure, multitasking, not my cup of tea. can clearly see that it has opened. I think I will buy a new thermostat that will open at a lower temperature. What do you think? This cabin will go on this tractor hopefully next year. It's been a long process fixing it, and there's a lot of videos on my channel showing me working on the cab. So if you like to see, just have a look. To avoid the loader tipping over when detaching it from the tractor, I'm connecting the bucket to the loader. So I have to remove the forks first. I'm removing the front piece to get more access to the radiator, and it's held in by 4 bolts on the sides and 2 bolts in the front. also this front bracket for hanging the weights on is preventing the nose to come out. So I need to remove it. As you can see, these nuts are very tight. Next up is to remove some wiring. These are the lines for the oil cooler. I thought they contain a lot of oil, but apparently not. Nothing. These are the hoses going to the steering cylinder. Just making sure that everything is loose. ring nut securing the oil cooler was very tight. I'm jiggling it back and forth, hoping it... oh no. Now I'm draining the engine cleaner and water mix. As you can see, the water is quite dirty. I wasn't really satisfied with the result, so I filled it up with water, added some dishwasher powder mixed into water. I think I used 4 tablespoons in that cup and added more water. Now it's time to degrease the engine and pressure wash it. The foam used here is dishwasher soap. It's called Salo. It really does the trick with grease. Of course it's not the best, but it helps. I'm using what I have at hand. I had mounted a camera on the pressure washer lance, and guess who forgot to push the record button. Here I'm setting it to the lowest pressure. I'm not sure how high of a pressure it is, but I'm using it on the oil cooler and radiator fins. I know it did not do any harm to the fins. Okay, time to drain the mix of dishwasher powder and water. As you can see, this is very, very dirty. It's now time to flush with clean water. letting it circulate through the system to clean it. Luckily, there's no leaks. Do you see which one was the best? Well, dishwashing powder was the best. No need to spend so much money on chemicals. I bought this heater core last spring, and I did a rinse of it, flushing it with just tap water, and also used the dishwasher powder for a couple of days, but nothing really came out of it. But I will flush it just to be on the safe side. This is the Mightyvac MV7270 combination spray washer, radiator and cooling system flusher. You put water to it and air, and just shock the system with air pressure and water. First, I will flush the system with only water, 2 or 3 times, just to flush out any loose debris. Now it's time to use the air. I've got the regulator set to about 2 bars. As you can see, it's quite dirty. And lots of debris. Now I have switched the hoses and doing a back flush. Still there's lots of debris coming out. And now I switched the hoses back again. As you can see, you can gain access to the thermostat housing without removing the air filter box, but it's very, very tight. The plan is to add water from the top of the radiator and flush it. But in order to make this work, you need to fill the radiator and then blow some air. And I'm not able to fill it because the water is running right through it. So basically, this was just a waste of time. And now it's time for the boring stuff. I used several kinds of tools doing this job, and this tool I bought from Temu. It didn't give any good results. I bought this one too from Temu. It was a little bit better, but not that much. A regular screwdriver and a Ulfa knife did most of the work. And also this pick came in handy. The radiator is secured by 4 bolts. And the oil cooler lines must be disconnected. The reason for removing the fan belt is to check for play in the water pump, and also I want to replace the fan belt. It's quite worn. There's no play. It turns fine, no noises, and the pump is pumping. Looks like there's a big gash in the radiator, but it's just a fix. A year ago I tried to remove this petcock while the radiator was on the tractor, but it was too stiff and I didn't dare turning it more than necessary. But as you can see, it works good. Would I do this if I wasn't filming? No way. So I set this up just to show how much or how little debris were coming out of the radiator. Now I'm able to fill the radiator with water, and by filling it I'm getting more pressure into it. The water is rushing faster. And as you can see, there's not much debris. Most of it is seeds from birch trees. I think most of the debris and dirt came out with the first flushes of the whole cooling system. As you can see, I blocked the lower radiator hose. I want the water to come out here. This is one of the hoses going to the heater core. As you can see, I connected the other hose going to the water pump into that hose. So the heater core is disconnected. It's not a part of the system anymore. Here I'm opening the water and I'm spending a lot of time removing this petcock. The cooling passages in the engine was full of water. I was expecting the water to be more dirty than this. Well, quite dirty. Time to drain the excess water from the engine. And I must say I'm quite pleased with the result. I wanted to check if there's any corrosion on the wire going from the temperature sensor to the instrument cluster, and also do a continuity check. So in order to gain access, I have to remove this cover. It's held in by 9 screws. Here I'm removing the hour meter cable. The big yellow light you can see here is indicator for the handbrake. The small red lamp is also an indicator for handbrake. When applying the handbrake, it will light up. The former owner added this. This is some aftermarket cabling. I'm removing these cables to be able to flip the cover upside down. Much easier to work like this. This is the temperature sensor cable on the engine. I'm just adding an extension cable to be able to reach with the multimeter cable. I did do some tests to find out if the temperature sensor itself was okay. I heated it up and the footage is missing. I can't find it, but it was okay. Here I'm trying to find out which connector is the temperature sensor, and there it is. So now I know that the wire from the temperature sensor to the connector is okay. Now let's test from the connector to the instrument itself. And there it is. So we have good connection. And also the connectors were okay, no corrosion. Well, that concludes this video. And I'm not sure if it fixed it, but I won't know until winter comes and I'm able to put a load on the tractor by using the snowblower. And I sure will give you updates on it. Either way, if it works or if it doesn't. So I will give you updates. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on the next one. So please subscribe, like the video and leave a comment. Thanks for watching.